O Z Y W O M B podcast. I'm Shan.
I'm Aria.
Say Ari.
Abby.
Welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast. Let's go. Hey, this is Shan, mom of the girls. Thank you for checking in. If this is your first time at Cozy Womb Podcast, welcome. It's a very random but frequently posted show. Enjoy what you can when you can. It's for new parents. Y'all are very welcome. It's for second, third, or more time around parents too. And I did not forget those of you who aren't quite there yet, haven't had your first kid, but you're thinking about it and you're just curious on what it takes to go ahead and survive the kids that you may make. Cool. Since we're all here, let's get into today's episode. Mama's Lemonade is basically, mom's making it work. My mom, was married to my dad when I was born, and I think up until I was 7 and she left, she made it work. She cooked 3 meals a day. She did upholstery for money. She never had like a clock-in job. She worked from home. She babysat. She made wedding dresses. She made hats for the church ladies. My father was a business owner and barber. He actually flipped property. He gambled a lot. He loved playing the lottery. If he took trips by himself. He wasn't really big on having a lot of family around, so not a lot of people came to our house. We lived in Philly on the corner of 57 and 59 Cedar Avenue. That house on the corner, that was our house. And even though my mom was married, my dad was so about what he had to do for the day that when he left and went to work at 7:30 and drove his car out the car spot that he had cones in so nobody could park there, he was about what he had to do for the day. And my mom had to figure out how she was going to get to and from her doctor's appointments and our doctor's appointments. And we basically lived like she was a single parent the whole time. Like, I never heard of or experienced our lights being off, our water being off, us not having food. We always had those things. But when it came to who's the parent that's going to take you to the doctors? My mom. Who's the parent that's going to take care of you when you're sick? My mom. Who's the parent that's going to feed you? My mom. Who's the parent that's going to come to school on your field trips? My mom. Who's the parent that's going to take you guys with her when she goes out to see family? My mom. I don't know any people on my dad's side of the family. Like, they could pass me every day. It was always my mom. And my mom had to make sure when we did go see family that we was back at the house before he got home at 7:00 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, that was our life. Even when we went to church on Sundays, it was separate. My dad went to a Catholic church. My mom went to a Pentecostal church that her parents went to in Philly. Sometimes he would come to church to pick us up, and we would drive either to the house so my mom could get out and she could go start cooking Sunday dinner. And he would take me and my brother, my youngest brother, to the lottery spot on 69th Street, play his lottery. He'll let Nathan get a piece of candy. He'll let me get a piece of candy. And he'll play his lottery, and then we'll go straight home. On his way to go play lottery, he would talk to women. On his way back from playing lottery, he would talk to women. That was just his thing. And my mom, I feel like she knew that my father was very womanizing. But in a way, she was like, I'm going to take care of my kids. And that's what she did. After she left, we lived in Baltimore for a little bit. And we were with one of my cousins. And she didn't have any kids. She had an apartment in Maryland, and we were basically there for the summer trying to figure it out. My mom got us in school. Notice, my mom, because moms make something out of nothing. Dads start to lose it when they have to be under pressure most of the time. So my mom, she got us in school in Maryland. I remember going to school in Maryland. I remember, making fun days out of, rolling down grass hills. I remember making fun days out of picking honeysuckles. I remember making fun days out of going to the playground and actually experiencing being outside. Because in Philly, my brother and I, we weren't allowed to leave the stoop. I couldn't tell you what parks we went to. If we ever went to somewhere kiddie or the zoo or anything like that for kids in Philly, it was because it was a field trip. Philly is not really child oriented. It's just like another city that's always busy and just full of people passing, not people actually enjoying the everyday. So being in Maryland, after a while, my mom needed to get her own place. She got sick. I want to say she had her second stroke. Me and my youngest brother, we got put in foster care because my cousin didn't want to keep us for that summer. And she didn't want to take us to Philly, which is, almost 2 hours away, to go stay with any family members. So we were in a foster care for about a month or so, a month and a half, which was horrible. Then after we got out of foster care, a social worker helped my mom get an apartment in Section 8. And we lived at Stewart Manor in Prince George's County. And I even remember the apartment number. It was a huge apartment complex. And we lived there for a few years. And my mom, started to get acclimated with being on her own, and the way that she made money is she babysat babies from the apartment. And I remember when we first moved into the apartment, we were sleeping on the floor with sheets and blankets, and my grandma came to visit, and she was sleeping on the floor with us with sheets and blankets. And we had our first Christmas in there, and her first TV. I remember the social worker gifted her first TV, and we had an entertainment center that had CDs in it. My mom would play Pointer Sisters every Sunday morning, or Luther Vandross, or I would play the music box, because I was into like music videos back then. And my mom would cook breakfast, and I had my own room. My brother had his own room. She had her own room. And it was our life. And then after that, one of my mom's friends convinced her to move to Florida. And we moved to Florida, and so on and so on. But it was always consistently my mom. My mom made it work. My mom, before we got the apartment, after the hospital, before we got the apartment in Section 8 in Maryland, we lived at a shelter for women and kids. And then we got the apartment on Section 8 after I want to say 4 to 5 months, because I remember going to school wherever that shelter was. We went through so much, and my mom was so strong and, persevered through all of that. And that's why I'm really big on people who really show how they are family, not people who are labeled family through being relatives. And that's why a lot of relatives have not met my kids, because I don't want them to ingest that fakeness that comes with, hey, get to know me because I'm your relative, and it's not a genuine love there. It's not a genuine consideration. It's not someone knowing that they can do for someone else's child, and being with family will be a better predicament instead of being with complete strangers and foster care, and just really loving and caring for kids and people that are a part of you. And I want my kids around that, whether that's great friends, whether that's family I create, but that's who I want my kids around. That's who I want my kids to know. And I'm very selective on who I have around my kids. I'm very selective on where I take my kids, what I expose them to. I'm very honest. And my mom, I have to thank her for so much. And she made lots of lemonade out of lemons. And even when times got really hard and she got really frustrated, I remember some nights she would cry in her room. I remember sometimes she would get really fed up. I remember just her doing for so many people, and so many people helped her. I remember when she couldn't deal with my youngest brother anymore, when he was getting into his teens. And he was shoplifting, Transformers from Ames across the street. I remember all of that. And it was just a part of life. It was a part of transforming and my mom coming into her own. And my mom never willingly left me anywhere. My mom never pushed me off on anyone. And what my mom really wanted was to have all her kids together in one place. With all of my mom's kids, it's 5 of us, and I'm the last one. I'm the only girl. And then my dad had 2 kids, Wendy and Winston. They're a lot older than me, but I keep in touch through Facebook. But man, when I say my mom my mom did it all, and I love her for it. And that's what really pushes me to be a great mom. And that's what really pushes me to not stress and worry too much to the point where I get stagnant when things don't make sense and changes happen that I don't understand. I learned to run with the changes and focus on what's good and focus on what's working. And I feel like I'm very flexible in life to where I don't get stagnant. When things don't go my way, I figure out the next thing I could do, or the next way that I can evolve into a better person, or a better artist, or a better mother, or a better friend, or a better employee, quote unquote, or just like, Chantal, what do you want? Like, what's next, Chantal? We already did that. What's next? And with a creative like myself, it's always what's next. It's never, okay, we're here, stay here, don't move. It's always what's next. And moms out there, continue to make lemonade out of your lemons, whether you want them or not. They're there, and we have to keep evolving. We have to keep changing, and we have to keep pushing even when things don't make sense. And when they do make sense, not that we don't appreciate those moments, but we have to keep preparing for the next thing and the next change, because those changes are coming. That is how we grow. And I appreciate my mom for all the lemonade, and I appreciate those moms out there making their own lemonade and loving their children and caring for their children, because I am 32 years old, and I remember what it was like living with my mom when I was 5. I remember what it was like living with my mom when I was 7. I will remember what it felt like when my father didn't reach out because he felt like I was supposed to reach out and I was in control of that relationship. I remember what it felt like when my father passed away. I remember mentally and emotionally disattaching from my father. I also remember my mom giving up in a lot of the moments where I wish she would stand up when it came to my brothers or myself. But I understand those moments too, because just because there's something I would have did differently doesn't mean I could push that on to my mom. She is her own person. But at the same time, that makes me become and strive to be a better mother. And I hope everybody remembers and understands that your mom is an individual first, and then she becomes a mother. And being a mother is just like being a child. You have to keep growing. You have to keep evolving, and you have to be able to pause, critique, and be truthful and honest about what you could have did better. And that's what makes us great mothers. Make your lemonade. Bye. Thank you for still listening. Got any advice or just want to ask anything? You can reach me on IG at Cozy Womb Mama or at whoisshan.com, or you can email me at cozywombbmama@gmail.com. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.